too hot out there for reading. Well, not reading alone, no, just with the device, because it overheats, yeah? Yeah. I'm good, thanks. How are you? Is that better? We're on page 24. The Improve Your Personality by Reading book is the one we're doing right now. I'm very good, thanks. How are you? We're just outside getting some sun. It's a beautiful day. Making some rice and broccoli soup. Good. Alright, I think we were right here. In addition to the cult of the I, which walls us in from experience and greatness and makes us avoid reading, is the further fact that people hate to be told the truth about themselves. They would much rather stay as they are than take the effort and to be something else. With Macbeth, they say to themselves, in effect, get thee glass eyes, and, like a scurvy politician, seem to see things thou dost not. The inertia, a hesitation to set the self in motion, or to bring it fully awake, is one of the prime causes which prevent most men and women from reading and improving their personalities. And those men, there are thousands of them, who vary the breakfast business here, garden, who vary the breakfast business beer garden, bed, treadmill, by reading endless successions of adventure tales and detective yarns, and pipe dreams of exotic action, because they help to pass the time. They too are keel-fast, grounded on the bar between an overripe adolescence and an undeveloped maturity. They are like mathematicians who spend their skill counting sheep to put themselves to sleep. In many ways, our native inertia is encouraged by two false ideas. The first of these exaggerates the ease with which books may be read. It tells you that you may expose yourself to the virus of ideas with the same ease as you could expose yourself to smallpox. Reading is easy, they tell you. It is as easy as taking a glass of beer or acquiring a suntan. All you have to do is to gulp the ideas, or lie at ease while the light of great thoughts plays upon you. Such prophets look upon reading as though print was a sort of silent telephone, into one end of which an author delivers a message, and from the other end of which, by simply knowing how to read, his audience receives it. Dust in the wind. A simplified summary of how to read is the fashion. A simple summary of how to read in this fashion is like the sublime innocence of a man who, not knowing how to swim, expects to walk into the deep sea with only a blotter for safety. It forgets difficult men and the complexity of language. It ignores the ascending levels of knowledge, sense, imagination, and intellect. Above all, it hides from the cult of the I and our native inertia. You can't learn to read as you would take an aspirin or a chocolate malt. Men's minds move on various levels of awareness. Words are not absolute. They are, at best, Symbols of the mind. They have one shade of meaning by themselves, another when they are combined in phrases and paragraphs. They will be directed to your imagination or intellect, not singly, but on several levels at once. Consciousness is itself, in its various phrases, as Coleridge saw, but a self-development of absolute spirit or intelligence. It touches all the deeps of life and awareness. As such, the contact of minds and the evolution of ideas and truth call to the deepest qualities and complexities within ourselves. Great books are not bird baths. They are highwaymen with pistols. They are earthquakes, plagues, and forest fires. They take you out of your padded cell of inertia. They shake you, scarcify you, and etch you with more designs than a tattooed lady in the circus. The second hampering idea, which prevents men and women from forsaking their inertia, is an exaggeration of the opposite of that which I have just delineated. It would make of reading such a complicated thing that only an esoteric group would possibly read with a complete profit. This attitude is fairly well summed up in a ponderous book written some years ago, How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler. If the book clubs which adopted this volume ever got people to read it, then it is no wonder we have had ever since a procession of ladies gone with the wind. Kitties and Ambers and their daughters, who require nothing but curiosity and an urge to be amused by their salacious and fallacious historical background, an evident turning from the old masters to the young mistresses. In exaggerating the difficulties of reading great human books, Adler reminded me of the hilarious story Charles Lamb tells us about his stern grandmother. I well remember when a fly had got into the corner of my eye, and I was complaining of it to her. The old lady deliberately pounded 2 ounces or more of the finest loaf sugar that could be got, and making me hold open the eye as wide as I could, all innocent of her purpose, she blew from her delicate white paper with a full breath the whole saccharine contents into the part afflicted, saying, "There, now the fly is out." 'Twas not true a legion of blue bottles, with the prince of flies at their head, must have dislodged with the torrent and deluge of tears that followed. The difficulties of reading unexposed by Adler were a remedy like that employed by Lamb's grandmother. They were more painful than ignorance, which, if universal enough, has all idiocracy. Adler's books must have confirmed the Woman's Club in Oskaloosa to expose themselves to nothing more difficult than Inside Latin America by John Gunther, or the biography of Edward Windsor. From the high Sierras of thought they came down with a bang to the contentment of life in a putty knife factory, where we're quite happy to be the consorts of a low man on a totem pole. Doubtless Adler's book did not much good. It probably awakened many to the names of fine books and a sense of responsibility toward them, but it certainly was no incentive to read, to the faint-hearted, or to those who encountered in the style of Adler's opus more complexity than was to be found in a large percentage of the greatest books which had ever been written. Reading is neither appallingly hard nor amazingly easy, but something between those two. It is essentially a human activity, and like all human activities, it requires disciplines for its perfection and ease. If you want to learn to throw a ball, you will have to take two sets of things into account. First, those objective qualities which are in the ball itself and in the air through which the ball is thrown. Second, the muscular skills and controls in you which make the ball do what you want, or do very, very nearly what you want it to do in any given circumstance. Learning to throw a ball accurately requires simple knowledge and muscular disciplines. Not great, not inhuman, but necessary for the act. So it is with reading. Those who have read widely and deeply from childhood have easily and perhaps half-consciously acquired those disciplines. Maisie Ward, in her Life of Gilbert Keith Chesterton, gives an excellent example of this. Talking over with an old schoolfellow the list of books he had drawn up for TP's weekly, I discovered deep doubt as to whether Gilbert would really read those books. As most of us understood reading, combined with a conviction that he would have got out of them at a glance more than most of us by prolonged study. I have certainly never known anything his equal in what the schoolboy called degutting a book. He did not seem to study an author. He certainly knew him. There is no mystery in Chesterton's casual and haphazard way with books, nothing strange or exceptional about it, any more than there is in the perfect control of a pitcher like Bob Feller, who has mastered the human art of pitching as Chesterton had mastered the art of reading. Early and consuming curiosity and wide intimate experience with books had given G.K. a complete mastery of the art of reading in such a fashion that only its ease and pleasure were any more apparent to those who observed or analyzed his reading habits. I myself have half a dozen friends who read in the same way. My own experience is identical. Before coming to school age, I knew the books of my older brothers and sisters by heart, and at least 1,000 songs. Avid reading through the grades, high school, and during college years stood me in a good stead during my years at college years, had given me a casual mastery of the art of reading. It stood me in good stead during my years as first associate editor of the Catholic Digest. In that position, it was necessary to read some 1,500 books a year. I wasn't conscious that I was reading with exceptional speed. Often, I astonished people who couldn't believe that a book could be read and digested at the pace I set. Reading is, as was asserted above, a human activity, as an art. As in all the arts, ease comes with doing. He moves easiest who has learned to dance, and was asserted in the first chapter of this book. Upon analysis, however, there are certain things which are helpful to those who have nothing but sloshy or sophoric books, and who wish to improve themselves by reading authors whose work are of first intensity in forming, enlarging, and changing the personality. There are things which the reader must bring to the book if there is to be profit in the encounter. The first and most important quality is aliveness. Professor Kerfoot refers to it by the term alertness. Scientifically, it is certainly called concentration. The term concentration, however, we usually think of as something strained and difficult. My use of the term aliveness is not meant in this way. There is a plodding dullness in work or pain which is foreign to the complete aliveness to be found in our response to joy and pleasure. On such occasions, the entire person is in motion. Good, thank you. Yes, reading quietly and out loud is way different. Yeah, still feel like we're trying to get used to reading out loud. I kind of like it. It seems to work totally different eye muscles, definitely different tongue muscles and facial muscles. It's exhausting. Yeah, we're gonna check our rice soup and probably make some muffins. We might even do biscuit dumplings. Yummy with molasses. Very good. Alright. We'll do some more reading later, yeah? You're welcome. Thank you. Let's see outside. It's a nice, bright, sunny day. It's hot out there. They're out there working in this heat. I was hot just sitting there. Yeah, for real. Yeah, some of them say they try to, make a workout out of it. Take their time. Breathe. It's important. You don't want to have heat stroke. Plus, it makes for better quality work as well. Yeah, you don't want to rush those kind of things, especially working with that kind of equipment. All right, we'll do some more reading in a little bit.